Yo YouTube, what's up? I'm Tim, he's AC. This is a Cash Kelly AC Sports Report. Happy Thanksgiving to all you guys out there. And there is nothing better on Thanksgiving than sitting down, stealing all the food from your family, and not sitting and eating with your family and going to watch the NFL instead. That's what me and AC are going to be doing tomorrow, starting at 12:30 on Fox, when the Lions, 7-3, going to play the 10-0 undefeated Packers. What do you think about this game, AC?
Well, I'll tell you what, this game, my family's just going to be sitting in front of the TV and not talking to each other, so that's a great thing. That's what we do. It's nice to watch football as a family. And so the Packers are at the Lions at Ford Field. I said it in the last video, last week NFL Final Score. I don't see a team that could legitimately, I think, beat the Packers. I think the Packers should win this game. That being said, the Lions are coming off of a win. They're 7-3. They've shown they can compete, this year, and they're not going away. They're not a fluke. Their offense is solid. They put up a lot of points, and Ndamukong Suh and Nick Fairley up front, they're stopping everybody's run game. The key for this game, I think, is to try and shut down Aaron Rodgers and the aerial attack of the Packers. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I see the Packers 35-24.
I disagree because I think that the Packers are the best team. Don't get me wrong. I predicted them to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of this year, and I think either the Packers, I still think the Steelers and the Patriots are the two other best teams right now. Regardless of record and who beat who, I think that those are the best two teams in the AFC. But I think the Packers clearly have distanced themselves in the NFC. That being said, let's look at the Packers compared to the 2007 Patriots, who I believe were probably still the best team of all time, regardless of the fact that they did not win the Super Bowl. They went 6-0, but they did it dominatingly. You knew that they were going to win every single game. When you turned on that TV, you just said, my team has no chance against the Patriots. They got Wes Welker, Dante Stallworth when he was good, Randy Moss when he gave a shit, Falk, everything. And then their defense was even still pretty good at that time. So they were clearly, hands down, a team that you looked at and you said, we just cannot stop this team. The Packers are a very, very good team. But I don't think that they're 16-0 good. I think they're 13-3 or 14-2 good, and they might win 15 games. I don't see them winning 16 because I think that we have seen some holes in their defense this year that weren't there last year, and I think the Lions are going to exploit those holes. I think that the Packers are going to exploit some holes on the Lions' defense as well. But with Ndamukong Suh, I think that this will be a high-scoring game. Defensive pressure from Suh and Fairley will slow down the Packers' offense enough to give the Lions a big victory, 35-30, and make things real interesting in that division.
The pass rush is going to be important from Fairley and from Ndamukong Suh. That's going to be important if the Lions are going to have a shot to win this game. And also, as a side note, the Packers are playing in a dome, and they have had trouble in domes in the past.
Yeah, and the fact that the Lions are at home and not in Lambeau really does help them. So, yeah. The second game we're looking at is the Dolphins 3-7, but they've been real hot as of late. At the Cowboys 6-4. This is a 4:15 game on CBS. I don't have a ton on this game because I think that this is pretty cut and dry. I think the Cowboys are clearly the better team. The Dolphins are playing well, and I think that this will be a pretty good game. But I think DeMarco Murray's hot. Tony Romo looked pretty good last week, and they came back against the Redskins to win that game in overtime. Well, they actually didn't come back, but they came back after the Redskins tied them. They won this game. I think the Cowboys are going to win the NFC East. I think the Giants are the best team, but by how the schedule falls, I think that the Cowboys are going to win the NFC East, and I think that this is going to be one of those wins that you look at and say, this is one of those games they got to win. Though Matt Moore's looked good, Reggie Bush, he's not ever that give him 25 carries, he'll give you 115 yards guy, but he'll give you 50-some rushing yards and 60 receiving yards. And no, that's probably not very good for a running back, but it's kind of interesting, gives your team a weapon, and Tony Sparano likes that type of guy. I look at this and I think that this will be a 21-17 win. I think it will be 21-14, and then the Dolphins will kick a field goal. I don't think this is going to be a late game comeback by the Cowboys. I think this will be a pretty easy win for the Cowboys.
I agree with almost everything in that. The Dolphins are hot. You can't forget about the Dolphins. They're coming off a 3-game win streak, and that might not seem like a whole lot considering they're 3-7 still. But it's not like it's not like they haven't played well in the past couple of weeks. I think they go into Dallas, and I think they give them a pretty good fight. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch, and I think the Dolphins are going to have some bright spots where they almost take over the game at times. But I do believe that the Cowboys will come out on top in this game. I don't think it's going to be very high scoring, but I think Tony Romo and company will get the job done. I'm thinking Dallas 17-14.
Now, the biggest game in some people's mind, I think the first game's the biggest one. But the nighttime, I think it's on the NFL Network. It's your typical Thursday night game, which for the most part, Thursday night football to me is a joke. But on Thanksgiving, I love it. So you got the battle of the Harbaughs, Jim Harbaugh and the San Francisco 49ers at 9-1 go into TD Bank Stadium. I think that's what that's called. I've driven by it a few times. I don't know exactly if that's what it's called. Who cares?
They changed names like 3 times in like the past 10 years or something.
And TD Bank's the Boston Celtics thing. I don't know. It's some bank like every other stadium. The 7-3 Ravens, coached by John Harbaugh. The brother thing is getting a lot of hype. I think that Jim Harbaugh is twice the coach that John Harbaugh is, but that's my personal opinion. The thing that is interesting about this game is the Niners are 4-0 on the road, while the Ravens are 5-0 at home. So something's going to have to give in this matchup of the Harbaughs. What do you think, AC?
I think it's going to be a battle for the ages, I guess you could say, between the two brothers. One of them is going to have to outcoach the other because we've seen both of these teams are pretty good. I said it last week, I'm not sold on the Ravens because they lost to teams like the Jaguars. They've seemed to like their engine stalls at moments, and they can't get it done. They almost lost to the Cardinals and everything. So I'm not completely sold on the Ravens, but it's going to be tough for the 49ers, even though they're 4-0, to come into the Ravens at home and on a very short week and try and win this game. I think it's going to have to be a battle of the coaches, though. Who's the better brother? Who's gonna win the game for their team?
And ultimately, what do you see happening?
Ultimately, I think the 49ers will find a way to win this game because they've shown to me this year that they are a legitimate contender, and I don't know. I call it a gut feeling on the Ravens. I think they might choke a little bit in this game. I'm going to pick another close-scoring game, though, and I'm going to say 30-27.
Now, I agree with you on the not being sold part in some sort of form. When you look at the Ravens, as you said, with all those losses, I look at the Ravens as what they are. They're a very good team. I don't view them as elite, but they're still a very good team. For the 49ers, I'm sold on the 49ers, but I'm sold on them as what they are, and that is a good team, not a great team. They're not your typical 9-1 team, and I just think that right now in this game, the 49ers are going to have trouble getting the running game going, which is going to lead to some Alex Smith turnovers, and I think that the Ravens offense going up against a very good 49ers defense is a little bit better, well actually a lot better than the 49ers offense. So I see the 49ers falling in this one to the Ravens 14-10 on a late game Joe Flacco touchdown drive. Joe Flacco's been clutch as of late. He's kind of gotten that monkey off his back, so that's what I see happening.
Yeah, I mean, that could very well happen. This is an interesting game because either, everything has to go right for one team or everything has to go right for the other. I think it's a really interesting game, but I do see the 49ers coming out on top. But that's more of a gut feeling than anything.
All right, after all these years of complaining about the Lions, people are excited to see them on Thanksgiving. We're going to have to see what happens. I'm Tim, he's AC. We'll see you later.